Welcome back to our discussion on investing in green battery technology. We're now going to speak with the management of 3 public companies you can invest in, who are all working to supply several of the raw elements needed to build green batteries. Please welcome to the show Aaron Wolf, Vice President, Corporate Development at Rodinia Lithium; Brent Nykoliation, Vice President, Business Development, Energizer Resources, who have a vanadium deposit; and Greg Bose, President and CEO of Northern Graphite. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you.
Hi. So, Aaron, we're going to start with you. Can you tell us a bit more about the importance of lithium in these green batteries, and what's your company's role in supplying one of the core elements?
Absolutely. Lithium is a highly reactive metal. It's the lightest metal on the periodic table if we go back to the chemistry days in high school. And really what it allows you to do is store a lot more energy in a smaller amount of compound, thus making the move to smartphones and even electric vehicles a lot easier because you can store more energy in a lighter, smaller battery.
Okay, and can you provide us with a bit of insight about lithium and also about the market for lithium?
Absolutely. The market for lithium right now is about 120,000 tons a year. It's predominantly used in glass and ceramics right now, with a growing component being the batteries for everyday electronics and the switch to the electric vehicles. With that switch, there's an expected increase in demand that will take anywhere from 3 to 5 years to see a doubling in the market demand, and then a second doubling from there in about 10 years' time.
So how would you say the market dynamic is for lithium at the moment, and how exactly does your company, Rodinia Lithium, fit into that picture?
Sure. So the majority of the lithium is supplied by 3 major producers. They're all global chemicals companies, and they're somewhat restricted on their ability to increase the supply to the market. So Rodinia's goal is to produce the next source of lithium carbonate for that battery industry in about 3 years' time.
How does your company compete with everyone else out there right now? What makes you unique and what sets you apart?
Well, right now we're still a junior. We're actively advancing our projects. But what sets us apart from other explorers is geographical diversity. We've got 2 projects in mining-friendly jurisdictions. So we have a flagship asset in Argentina, in Salta province, which is very mining-friendly, and we have a second asset in Nevada. So as we advance the Argentine project into production, we've got the fun of a second project right behind it.
And what is Rodinia's end goal? What do you expect to achieve?
In a perfect world, we'll be the next supplier of lithium carbonate to the market.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you for that. We're on to you. What is the vanadium redox battery, a VRB as they call it, I guess, and what makes it such a compelling technology for large-scale energy storage?
Well, a vanadium redox battery is a relatively unique battery. It's been around for, well, the technology's been around for almost 15, 20 years, but it hasn't been just recently that they've been kind of into the mainstream market of green technology, because they have some wonderful attributes in terms of storing large-scale energy. And redox batteries, unlike lithium batteries, right now can store tremendous amounts of energy, from kilowatts to megawatts. They have unlimited cycle length. They can last decades in terms of their battery life. They run at room temperature. They can release and charge energy simultaneously and also release it instantaneously. So this allows the vanadium redox battery to be one of the very few technologies that can actually connect directly to a power grid.
Okay, so you're saying that with all these positive attributes and the fact that VRB is considered one of the leading energy storage technologies, why then have we not seen them successfully penetrate the market as of yet?
Well, there's been 2 main issues that have been holding back the VRB from commercialization. Number 1 has been patents, and the original patent of the VRB did not expire until 2006. So again, the technology's been around since the 80s, but there's not been the opportunity for the companies to develop them. And since 2007, there's probably been at least a dozen companies now worldwide producing VRB technology. The second reason is the cost. The VRB, about 40% of the cost of that battery is in the vanadium, and vanadium's price has been very volatile. It's been anywhere between $6 a pound all the way up to $30 a pound. So that has to be stabilized in order for these batteries to take off. And one of the biggest opportunities right now is getting the price per kilowatt per cycle down on the batteries. And what you need to be in North America for these things to be successfully commercialized, the magic number is 9 cents a kilowatt hour. And that's competing not with every other battery manufacturer, it's actually competing with gas-fired turbines and diesel generators. If you can replace a VRB with that, you have to be at 9 cents, and there's companies right now that are working very hard to get that price down. So a year ago, a VRB would be about 20 cents a kilowatt hour. Today, there's companies that have it down to 11 cents with subsidies, with expecting to get below 9 cents in the next 24 months.
So with your expertise, how would you say if VRB takes off, how will it impact the demand for vanadium?
Well, these batteries take tremendous amounts of vanadium. For example, a 1 megawatt battery, which would be perfect for installations on the power grid, require about 13 tons of vanadium. So we'll say 10 tons for a round number. If you even had 200,000 of these worldwide, let's say in the next 5 or 10 years, you would probably need about 2 million tons of vanadium. The annual production right now of vanadium in the world is 107,000 tons. So that represents 2 times the world's supply every single year required for the next 10 years just to supply that market.
And how is Energizer's Green Giant project, located in Madagascar, positioned to meet this potential supply needed for the rapidly emerging battery market?
Well, we're one of the very few companies, I think the only company that has actually announced its intention to produce a vanadium electrolyte, which is the form of the vanadium required for these batteries as its primary product. Because of our deposit, which is relatively large, we have a 60 million ton resource, again grading about 0.7 V2O5. And we have that in about 6 kilometers of our 21 kilometers vanadium zone. So we have a very scalable project. So for us, we're able to meet the current demand and as well be able to supply the emerging demand of large-scale energy if it comes online.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. So Greg, on to you. Tell us a bit about your company and maybe let us know why an investor would be interested in graphite.
Yes, we're an Ottawa-based company. We have a graphite project which is located between Ottawa and North Bay, about 15 kilometers from the Trans-Canada Highway. In terms of why investors should be interested in graphite, I think the lithium guys and the rare earth guys have demonstrated to the market that it's possible to make money on something other than gold and base metals. And so now investors are looking around and thinking, what's next? And we think there's a very good case to be made that graphite is the next lithium or rare earth type of story. The reason I say that is that basic industrial demand has been growing about 5% a year. Prices have tripled. And at the same time, there's a number of new technologies coming along, lithium-ion batteries being one of them, fuel cells, solar being others. They're all very big users of graphite. And at the same time, China produces 70% of the world's graphite. You have the same security of supply issues with graphite that you have with rare earths. So rising demand, supply problems, and a very high quality project.
So Greg, more specifically, how does your deposit, how is it better or how is it different from that of your competitors?
We have what we think, obviously we're biased, but we think that it is the leading undeveloped graphite deposit outside of China. Okay. It is over 80 million tons. That is a 43101 resource. It is almost entirely large flake high purity graphite, which is the industry standard premium product. The infrastructure location is good. We are going to start off at 20,000 tons a year, and we think this thing has the potential to triple or quadruple production in the future. In fact, we've already demonstrated it with the resource that we have. I think the other thing that makes us unique is this is not an exploration project. This is a pre-development project. We already have identified a very large resource. We will have a bankable feasibility study. So this defines very specifically the capital and operating costs of the project, and we will be fully permitted by the end of the first quarter. So if the stars align, we will be in production in mid-2013. If electric vehicles and hybrid electric vehicles are even moderately successful, and you take very conservative forecasts of the percentage of new vehicles that are hybrids or electrics, the world needs to double or triple graphite production. So we need 10 or 20 new graphite mines in the next 5 to 10 years.
Well, how much would it cost to build the mine?
It will cost between $70 and $80 million to build the mine. It sounds like a lot of money, but actually in the mining business, it's not.
No.
Most lithium projects are hundreds of millions, as are the rare earth projects, and some of them are in excess of $1 billion. So when you tell somebody you're going to build a mine for 80 million in the mining industry, that's a fairly modest number, and it's something that's very doable for a junior company, and it will take approximately 1 year to build the mine. It's it's a simple open pit mine with standard technology, so there's nothing unusual about it that creates a technical challenge.
Has the Canadian government been helpful to you?
The Canadian government has pretty well been invisible, which is kind of unfortunate. There's a lot of stuff going on in green energy and green energy technologies, and for the most part, the Canadian government and Canadian industry is nowhere to be found. As usual, it's mining companies that are leading the charge, and a lot of these projects are not even in Canada, even though it's Canadian companies sponsoring them. So this is an example of a deposit that is located right here in Canada and can help us contribute to being part of the green revolution, and I don't even think the government knows it exists.
Well, if the government took a more active role and they weren't invisible, as you call it, would it be a lot more useful to you? Would you feel that you'd be progressing quicker?
No, because we are talking to a lot of potential strategic partners about helping us finance and build the mine, and these are very knowledgeable, astute people that have been through this before, and I think it would to start the brain damage of going down the road with the federal government to try to get them involved in a project like this, we don't have the time or the interest in that, actually.
Okay, well, very clearly put. Thank you, gentlemen. We're going to take a quick break, but when we return, our mining expert from Jacob Securities, Louisa Moreno, will tell us if green means green for you.